Juliana Taimoorazy, you were born and raised in Iran. You have family right now in Tehran. How are the Iranian people reacting to this moment?
It's a mix of emotions, Raj. They're excited, they're afraid, they're shaken up. Again, excited, excited, excited. There are videos that have come through. There's a guy who's telling the woman that is with him, look, they're hitting it there, they're hitting it there. In Farsi, he's speaking and he says, hit, attack, attack. By God, you're doing such a good job. By God, we are ready to die just in order for this regime to be gone. This made me cry, Raj, today, because this simple sentence, but so profound and desperate, shows what these people have gone through for 47 years. Raj, I remember the suffering that people were already experiencing in the 1980s because of the Iran-Iraq war, because of lack of enough gasoline, and electricity being cut off. So these people, for 47 years, have been brought down to such desperate conditions. But Iranian spirit, the Persian spirit, is alive and well. And I guarantee you, when this regime is gone, the Iranians will rise and take their own fate in their own hands with the support of Israel and America. We cannot leave them after the regime is fallen. That is an absolute no.
Well, we're seeing celebrations of the Persian diaspora in places like Berlin, in Los Angeles, and I don't like calling out people, but Tucker Carlson has famously said that, quote, this whole action is absolutely disgusting and evil. So there seems to be a divide between the Persian people in Iran, around the world, and I guess you could call it Western intellectuals on the left and the right. So why is there this chasm between what seems to be the reaction of most Persian people, most Iranian people, and certain members of the media?
Look, I think Tucker is speaking based on the experience that we've had with Iraq. I understand why he's saying this. However, we have to keep in mind, Iran is not Iraq. Iran is absolutely a different entity with different people, with different geopolitical history. Let's not forget, Islamic Republic of Iran has killed thousands of Americans. In South America, they have wreaked havoc. In Europe, they have wreaked havoc. Throughout the Middle East, they've wreaked havoc. They have supported the terror inside Iraq. They say Iraq is not a country. It's Iran 2.0. Let's not forget what Hezbollah has done, Hamas has done, Houthis has done. Let's not forget how they had backed Syria. And for those who support Ukrainians, keep in mind that the drones that were given to Russia against the Ukrainians was done by Islamic Republic of Iran. So as I understand where Tucker is coming from, but he really needs to leave this in the capable hands of Bibi Netanyahu, the capable hands of President Trump, and really let the fate come through for these people. Look, I'm an Iranian Assyrian Christian in the diaspora. I have no right to dictate to the Iranians inside the country what is good for them. We know they're calling out for assistance from President Trump, from Israel. Raj, there are videos that are coming out and images from the Iranian diaspora, leaving notes everywhere saying, thank you, Bibi, thank you, Israel, thank you, President Trump. When the protests were happening, the streets were bearing the names of Trump. So the name of Trump. So I think Tucker Carlson has to maybe have a little bit more faith in this administration. This administration is not Obama. This administration is not Biden. And we must go forward. And we have to. Now that this has begun, Raj, President Trump, which I think he will, he has to finish it. He has to see it through, and he has to support the people of Iran.
What are your family members in Tehran telling you in this moment? I've talked to a couple other Iranian folks recently, and they've been saying that there's, again, like celebration happening, but obviously there's bombs falling on their city. How is your family responding?
Well, when the war began, I called my uncle and I said, they just attacked Tehran, and he didn't know. He hadn't realized because he happened to be outside Tehran at that moment. And we spoke for about 30 minutes and the phones were dead. And he just called me yesterday because the internet was restored, but we cannot reach them. I'm unable to reach my family. If they don't call me, I have no news. So they are cautiously optimistic. They also want this regime gone. They want prosperity to return to Iran. Raj, Iran, I guarantee you, when the regime goes, the tourism, the assistance that it can give to the Western world, to its region, its regional partners. Iran is really, it deserves to be freed through and through. And there are about 10 million Iranian diaspora Persians that are dying to return to their homeland to help in rebuilding. And there are very affluent Persians, successful Persians that are living in the West, in America and in Europe, that are waiting for this moment so they can return. So, and also let's not forget that Iran, there is a mullah. His name is Alam al-Huda, who has said, if we are to leave, we will leave Iran in its own ashes. So I think this is a very loud message to the Arab world that is now uniting with Israel and with the United States, a loud message to the diaspora and its own people on the ground in Iran, that they have to really face what is coming our way. But I think we will be victorious because of President Trump and Bibi Netanyahu.
Well, you mentioned this earlier, kind of the difference between what the United States did in Iraq and Afghanistan. People see us getting involved in Libya and Syria, things in Lebanon, Gaza. It just seems like for a lot of isolationist folks, critics of a foreign policy of the United States, that the United States cynically is just always at war in the Middle East. And here's another one. Here's more military industrial complex money going to some other place. But what I've been, and again, I'm an outsider, I'm not Persian, but what I've been seeing as the main difference is that a lot of most Iranian people I've talked to and seen seem very much vocally in support of what's happening. So I guess maybe give us a little bit more delineation between all the other wars in the Middle East that have happened and maybe what's happening here.
Look, we went to war with Afghanistan because of 9/11, right? But it was actually Pakistan that trained bin Laden, and he really lived a lot of his time as a terrorist inside Pakistan, and then he went to Afghanistan. We went under false pretenses of WMDs to Iraq, and we devastated, unfortunately, Iraq. But Iran is different. We are going after the regime that has wreaked havoc on American lives, on European lives, on its own citizens' lives, on the Iraqis' lives. So this equation is completely different. We cannot compare all these wars that have happened in the past with this one. And the leadership is different. President Trump is different than, like I said, than Biden, than Obama, than even George Bush. So I think that with his cabinet members, and he loves humanity, and he's a man of peace, and he tried to negotiate several times. But I think those times that Oman was involved and Qatar was involved in these communications between Iran and the U.S., I think Iran was just buying time, because we were getting conflicting reports from Iran. They were saying, yes, we're doing well, the negotiations are moving forward, and yet the United States was saying, absolutely not, we're at a deadlock. So I think that Iran was malicious the entire time. It never came forward with good intentions, and they needed to be taken out. And I think from what we hear, the reason that President Trump took this decisive measures now was because report came that Iran was planning on attacking all U.S. bases in its neighboring countries. So this way, he saved American lives. But we have to remember that we have sleeper cells across the globe, especially here in the United States, especially with bringing 20 million illegals or those who came legally with malicious intent. So we in America, I beg you, my fellow Americans, be vigilant, be careful. If you see something, say something. a typical example, what happened in Austin, right? He had the Quran in the car. He was a property of Allah. He was wearing that T-shirt, and he had Islamic Republic flag in his house. And Europeans also, especially that, I don't know if you've seen, but Pakistan, Kashmir, Iraq, all these people have risen against the United States' decisive attacks against Iran. So, and imagine the United Kingdom is full of Pakistanis right now. So, I think throughout Europe, throughout North America, and Australia, I think we all have to exercise caution every day from now on. Unfortunately, that's the world that we live in.
Well, Juliana, your insight is invaluable. We will be praying for you and your family in Tehran, and obviously we'll have to have you back on very soon. But as for now, thank you and God bless, my friend.
Thank you. And we stand with those, our hearts break for those who have passed away, Americans, Israelis, and also those innocent Iranians that have been murdered. But it is not America's or Israelis' fault. We've always wanted peace. It is the Islamic Republic of Iran that needs to be eliminated.